quick. I bet Nichols was like, oh, oh shit. I bet I scared the shit out of him.
This thing's rolling? Yeah, we're rolling. Oh, all right, everybody. It's early in the morning. We made a stop at Buc-ee's here in Hillsboro. Gotta make a stop at Buc-ee's, right? But we're heading up to Hastings Motorsports Park Hastings. Man, it's early. And they've got forgot my eggs on my brisket and egg taco. Right now, Google Maps says 9 hours and 25 minutes. Rolling with the Dark Horse here. And then we've got the 2015 yellow car. And then we're going to convoy with the rest, or a few other LMR employees that are trailering their cars up the road there just inside of Oklahoma. We won't talk about the cars or anything in every stop. We'll fast forward that, and we'll see y'all at the track. All right, everybody, we made it. Gosh, I don't even know how long it was, 12 hours, I think, right at, of course, with stops. I can't remember how many we made. We just wanted to get here. Car's dirty, but oh well, it's gonna get even more dirty when we get it on track. I think I hit every bug up through Oklahoma, Kansas, and now Nebraska. I kind of hard parked it here in front of the sign so we could let you know we're here. We got everybody else over there unloading the cars, getting all that stuff situated. We're gonna call it an evening. Go find something to eat, wind down. Of course, we'll be up bright and early in the morning, get all the cars kind of somewhat situated, mainly the cars we drove here, check tire pressures, move the camber plates in, all that good stuff. That's it. We're excited to get on track. It's nice and cool here. I think it's 71 degrees. So up from Texas, I think we left, it was supposed to be like 95 or 96 today. So this is a phenomenal break in the weather up here in Nebraska. So that's it. We'll be back prepping the cars and on track. Got kitty cat marks all over it, spider webs. You know, we took a 2,000 mile car that looked brand new and it looks like this, poor thing. All right, everybody, so we're back, Waco, Texas, LMR headquarters. I know we wanted to get the camera going and talk about the car, talk about the sessions, do all that stuff while we're at the track. I'll just be flat out honest with you. When we get out there, it's hard to pick up the camera and do some yapping because we get so immersed in the experience. We start talking to folks, we start talking to each other. We want to go for rides. You know, we want to do all the things that you're really supposed to do at the track, which is have fun. And when we do that stuff, you know, the camera kind of just gets put on the back burner. Here we are, we're back in the studio, and we're going to kind of explain and talk about our journey to Motorsports Park Hastings there in Hastings, Nebraska, and back here to Waco, Texas, with the 2024 Dark Horse that we have the Ford Racing or Ford Performance Supercharger kit on. At the time of this video, Ford Performance has now went back to Ford Racing. So the Dark Horse car, in preparation for the track, we really didn't have to do much. That was the whole intent on taking this car, was to just get out there and have fun with it, see what it could do with the Supercharger. It's been a long time since we've tracked a supercharged car. Factory car that didn't have a supercharger and then had a Ford Performance catalog supercharger installed. The other one we had of recent was a 2018 automatic Mustang GT that we tracked, and that car was fun and all, but the automatic did take a little bit of the fun away. But this one's a manual. So we wanted to get out there and wanted to see what we could do with it. Leading up to it, all we had to do was adjust the camber plates, which the Dark Horse handling pack cars, this being a handling pack, has the adjustable camber plates. You do have to remove the screws or the pins that kind of lock it into place. But once those are out of the way, you can loosen your 3 strut mount nuts here with weight off of the car. So you'll just jack it up a little bit, get the weight off the suspension. You'll just move this strut all the way inboard as far as it'll go. That's going to give you right at -3 degrees of camber. You're going to do that for both sides. You'll also want to put your tow hook in just in case. Some people may think that's bad luck, bad juju. Who knows, it could have been that way for us because we got a crack on our windshield. You want to have that up there just in case you go off track or do something where the car won't move under its own power. The safety car can come out there, get you back to the pits. And then the other thing would be tire pressure. Setup we had on the car for majority of the sessions was the Ford SVE DHP one wheel with the Kenda 200 tread wear tire. We just set the cold tire pressure at 32 just for a good starting point. And after that first session, you come in, you check your hot PSI, and you can kind of bump that down to your liking. So that was it. That's all we had to do. Of course, make sure your gas tank's topped off with fuel, which, speaking of fuel, one of the local gas stations up the road, Pump and Pantry, had 100 octane, so that's what we ran in this car, especially with it having a supercharger on it. But the first session, which was on a Thursday, which we got 2 sessions that afternoon from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, that was really, call it the shakedown session. You know, filling the track out, you know, getting used to the car because for me, this was my first time back on track after a 3-year hiatus. And before that, you know, I was doing several HPDE events a year. So for me, coming off of a 3-year period of no driving on track, definitely had to get my bearings back and shake a little bit of the rust off. First session went great, filling the car out. I did notice after, you know, let's say 4 or 5 laps, I did feel a reduction in power with the heat from the supercharger, all the systems talking to each other. I believe that the PCM was pulling a little bit of timing because it definitely did not feel like a 600 or a high 600 horsepower car. And the way I could confirm that, Scott Springer was in front of me a few times during that session. Wasn't necessarily pulling away from me, and I wasn't doing a whole lot of catching up to him on the short straights that the track had. So that was definitely an indicator, as well as the seat of the pants, that the car did have a slight reduction in power. Going into that second session, I had my hot tire pressure set the way I wanted it to. The car performed a little bit better. These Kenda tires, they kind of want to push a little in the corner. I know you can play around with that, obviously with tire pressures. All throughout the weekend, or all throughout the track days, these Kenda tires pushed just a little bit. It's a really good tire for the money. Weighing those two, you got to kind of take the good with the bad, so to speak. So the good being a lower price point tire. Not saying that this is a bad thing, but you know, you may not get the performance of this 200 tread wear tire that you would get, let's say, from a more expensive 200 tread wear tire. And speaking of tire, on the Dark Horse handling pack cars from the factory is a Pirelli Trofeo tire. It's a 10.5 front, 11 rear, which is a 305 30/19 front, 315 30/19 rear, and that was the same size spec of tire for the Kendas as well. Moving to the second session, I think I knocked half a second out of my time. Decent improvement. Tire pressure probably played a little bit into that. Probably going to be laps. You know, I think I got 8 laps the first session. Got another 8 or so laps the second sessions. Like anything, the more laps you run, you're gonna find your line, you're gonna find the groove, you're gonna get just a little bit faster each time. The Garmin Catalyst that we use for our data acquisition, that also acts as a coach where it can tell you, you can go into the turn a little bit faster, you can go into the turn a little bit slower even, you can maybe take a little bit different line, and then your corner exit can be slower or could also be faster. So that was a really good tool. We have those available on the site. So that's one of the product plugs here for this video, amongst several others, SVE DHP 1.4's wheels, Ford Performance, Ford Racing Supercharger kits, so on and so forth. Throughout that day, we ended up swapping the Kenda tires over to our 2015 Mustang GT, the yellow car. It's kind of my baby, I'm calling it. That's the car that I have the most amount of laps in. And when I got in that car with a decent tire being the Kendas, I felt like I was home. And that first 2 laps, I think, out in the yellow car, I had already ran the same time as I did in this Dark Horse, which is a good talking point as well. Kind of get sidetracked here. Power doesn't necessarily mean time, okay? That's a 2.1 mile course. You do have some straightaways to carry some speed, but even those straightaways to carry that little bit of speed doesn't necessarily equate to a much faster lap time. You're automatically gonna think, oh, that car should be 3, 4, 5 seconds faster. It probably could with a much more seasoned driver, yes. For us and for me, driving both cars, that's where I was at. Plus, I'm more comfortable with the yellow car. Like I said, I have substantially more laps with that car than I do the Dark Horse. All in all, let's talk about the trip. 10 hours up there, or 11 hours up there, give or take, and then about 10 hours back. We hot-shotted that thing back. Jude and I were ready to come home. We basically stopped to get fuel and use the potty. That was it. Call it 21 hours, plus the time at the track. So probably 22 hours in this car over a stint of 3.5 days. That's a lot of seat time. And I can tell you this, going into it, I was like, man, these Recaro seats. I'm 6'3", 180 pounds. Long trips with cars like these, I've always had a little bit of back pain going down the road. I didn't have any back pain. It was a great trip. Going up, obviously, through Oklahoma, Kansas, and then Nebraska. A lot of straight, very long roads, which we can relate to here in Texas. You throw on the adaptive cruise, you pay attention to the roadway. This car basically drives itself. It's super comfortable, and everything that you would want in a car, subjective of course, you kind of get it all with one of these Dark Horse cars. The Supercharger out on the open road, when you just want to kind of hee-haw around and hit the go fast pedal, this thing rips on the wide open roads, and when you need to get around somebody that's going slow down the 2-lane country road, you punch it, you can get around them really easy. We left Waco with 2,000, call it 2,000 miles. Coming back, the final number plus the track time, car sitting at 3,532, call it 1,500 miles. A lot of miles in 4 days. I can't even tell you how many tanks of fuel we went through this thing. I know I spent over $200 in 100 octane, and then all the way through there and back, kind of Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, we had to do 91 octane. And then once we got back to Texas, we could top it back up with 93. So I think probably all in all, if I was to add my receipts up, how much fuel did you, or how much money did you spend on fuel, Jude?
I was about $230, $250.
Okay, so throw the race fuel in this car, I was probably close to $600, which isn't bad if you really think about it. $600 in fuel, half of that almost being race fuel, that's really not bad. You got to pay to play. If you want to do this stuff, put superchargers on your car, go track the thing. If you want the most performance, give the car the best stuff that it needs, you gotta sell out some of that cash. So with the distance we drove, this poor car. Already mentioned the crack in the windshield, but we've got bug smacks, we've got rock smacks. I know from a cleanliness, perfectionist type mindset, this definitely bothers me, but I'm also a realist in understanding that this is all part of it. You gotta see this stuff when you drive them and you have fun. Plus all that'll clean up. It'll have its marks and things, but all of our cars do. We drive them, we enjoy them. It's how we get better. It's how we offer the products we offer, and that's how we can share our experiences with this stuff. Which, not to mention scars and scrapes and whatnots on the front. Check that bad boy out. Got me a little blister here on this old bone in my leg from having to brace myself up against the door. It's all part of it, baby. Tearing up cars and tearing up bodies. Let me show y'all this. I thought I was being ingenuitive, but I didn't quite get it in the right spot. I forgot it. My knee rubs more here by the switch panel, but I tried to make this little microfiber pad. So now I know, I forgot, I gotta get my pad up here more or add something to my leg.
Wear knee pads with shin guards.
Yeah, wear a knee pad to go road racing. But hey, it all makes sense, okay? If you wanna go faster, you have to chase this stuff. You gotta lock yourself in with harnesses. You gotta put a better tire on it. You gotta do this, you gotta do that. Just all part of it. This car, you don't need much. If you're looking at it from just a production car. It's already a handling pack. It's got the coolers. It's got all the stuff to go fast. Really all you need for this car would be a set of harnesses to come through your harness slots here, through the Recaros, and get you buckled in nice and tight. Real quick, I can touch on a little bit more track performance. Temperatures, oil temp, 200 degrees, give or take. Axle temp, 190, give or take. Cylinder head temp, hovered around 220. And these are all just probably averages from when I looked down the times I did to check kind of all the vitals of the car. That's what I remember seeing. Temperature-wise, you know, the thing didn't miss a beat. And the kind of the reduction in power I was talking about was just overall heat of the engine. The PCM knows that. You know, 12-to-1 compression, that's a lot of cylinder pressure, and you throw a boost on top of that, it's gonna make an attempt to save itself, regardless of octane. So the car did throw a check engine light while we were there, but we didn't have the tools to scan what they were. They did not affect drivability. We were able to check these codes whenever we got back to LMR, and the two codes that it had generated was a P0217, which was an engine coolant over temperature condition, and then the second code was a P0430, which was a catalyst system efficiency below threshold on bank 2. For those of you that watch us know that we put that first Dark Horse video together, January 2025. That was more or less kind of the walkthrough of why we were putting the supercharger on the car, Bird Colgan putting the supercharger on for us, and then kind of the first initial reaction. See, now we can come back and say I drove the car 21 hours, over 1,500 miles. You know, that's about as good of a testimony as you can give. Kind of just wanted to bring you along and give you my experience of it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. You know, I like the car, I do. Money aside, yes, this is expensive. Supercharger's expensive. What isn't expensive? Not gonna get into a debate what's better per dollar or this or that or Gen 2, Gen 3, so on and so forth. Because at the end of the day, it's our money, it's your money, it's whoever's money, and you just gotta spend it on whatever the hell you wanna spend it on, okay? Life's short, you gotta enjoy it, and that's exactly what we're doing here with the Dark Horse. While we were there in Hastings, Nebraska, we took the short trip, about 45 minutes one way, over to Kearney, or Kearney, however they enunciate that, Nebraska, the home of Blueprint Engines. Of course, we sell a few of their products here at lmr.com, so we kind of got the red carpet treatment there. I've got the full facility walkthrough. If you want to check out that video, that'll be available down in the video description. We also have some good GTD content as well. Todd Soderquist, chief engineer for Now Ford Racing. He had a base GTD out there. He wasn't going too radical on track, but the car actually had a corded tire, so a little unfortunate. He did give it a little bit of beans out there. We have some GTD content, which was really cool. It was nice, very fortunate to see that car in person, regardless of what anybody and everybody thinks. I think it's a great car. Money aside, the stuff's gonna have a price point no matter what, whether you think it's too expensive or too cheap. You know, everybody has an opinion, right? Those videos will be down in the gosh darn video description. All right, that's a wrap, fellas. We'll turn y'all loose. Let us know what we should do with our Dark Horse next. Should we continue tracking it the way it is with the supercharger? Should we take it to the drag strip? Could we possibly take the supercharger off, move it to our 2024 Mustang GT with the 10R80. And big thanks to Jeff Lucina, all the Motorsport Park Hastings crew, and everybody that attended the event that we were at, the Mustang Roundup. That was a very, very cool grassroots type of event. Those are the ones what we cherish the most, just simply because it's kind of our mindset. Old school, grassroots, you know, hang out with your buds at the track and talk Mustangs and talk cars in general. If you appreciate the video, please consider liking it, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and then till we see the next one, for all things S650, keep it right here with The Real Enthusiast, LMR.com.